Welcome everybody to the Jane Live Miracle Medicine Thursday event. As I said a little bit earlier, it seems like every time I wake up and open my eyes, it's Thursday. So the time is really speeding up, and the questions are speeding up, our reality is speeding up, our realization of certain things is speeding up, and it's how it should be right now. Everything is in perfect order, if I can say that. And this is coming from me, so you're going to make your own decisions. But honestly and truly, to me, everything is in perfect order. It's all divine plan. Humanity has been through tumultuous times. We have been through tumultuous times in the past, and we've survived. And there's no reason why we're not going to continue to survive. And I don't really mind about scientific evidence or medical evidence or humanitarian evidence or consciousness evidence or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me at all. What matters to me is here and now, and that I am, to coin Dipty's phrase, powerfully present in this moment, in the middle of all the tsunamis. Because let's face it, we are all being bombarded in one way or another with tiny, small, medium, large, extra large tsunamis that are just washing over us. And I could really tell you many, many, many stories of the patients and clients that are coming in to see me, people that I'm speaking to, various places that I go to. We all are, and we need it, because this is our transformation. This is chaos. And I've talked before about chaos and the instrumental value of chaos. We have to have chaos to shift. The bigger the chaos, the bigger the shift. So we need to bring it on, but we need to be calm in the center of that storm and realize it and witness it and be on top of it, not underneath it in the whirlwind. We need to get to a point where we are on top of things and we can look around and see and understand what's happening to us, to our DNA, to our cells, to our cellular fluid, to our pineal glands, to our consciousness, to even our universe. So change is inevitable. Chaos is critical to create the change. So if you follow quantum, and quantum is the morphogenic field, it's where we come from, it's our space which we operate in. The trees grow in the quantum space, the animals operate. So it's nothing new. Quantum means interrelated, integrated, interdependent, intertwined, entwined. If you follow the Big Bang, when there was the massive energetic explosion of all the particles are, which includes us and all our little tiny little atoms and particles inside us, are all intertwined, interconnected, interrelated. So what's going on with the one set of particles on this side of the world or this side of your body is the same on the rest of the body. So everything is actually in a holistic space. We are all in it. So it's not a question of us and them and what do you think and have you or haven't you. Those are really, really basic three-dimensional questions to be asking. And quite frankly, also, we have a choice as humans. And who are we to say one way or the other is going to be a better outcome? We're actually not in a position to judge, because we're not. And if you happen to be asking those basic questions, you do not have the courage of your own conviction. You do not have the courage of your own free choice, the choice that you took or that you're about to be taking. And that's what it's about. And it's about standing in your decision and being strong and powerful in your position. And then you move forward and you have that courage to set your direction like a lightning bolt, going forward, not going left, not going right. This is where I'm going. This is who I am, first of all. I suppose we've got to start there. This is who I am, and this is what I understand. This is the knowledge that I have, and this is where I'm going. And to be bothered with the distraction, the distortion, the deception, the lies, the truth. It's just occupying your upper mind and making you busy and taking 80% of your energy. All right. So we talked before about the upper mind, which is observing, and it needs to observe in a non-emotional way, that non-judgmental space. observation. The heart is the consciousness, right? The connection, the universal connection, and the abdomen, the gut, is where the true awareness comes from, and that is where we make the true decisions, and where we're connected universally to ourselves and the bigger space. And no decision needs to be based on emotion. So I'm finding, a lot of this chit-chat, a lot of people, asking me questions, well, have you, haven't you, or what's your view and everything. It's actually irrelevant. And you know what? I ask the question back. Because we've got to make sure that we're making the right decisions for ourselves in that point in time, which we have courage about the choice that we made. This is the most important thing. And in order to make clear thinking decisions and to be productive and live our purpose and have the clear direction, we need to detoxify. We need to be clear. We need to have purified ourselves. And it's very difficult to make clear, non-emotional awareness, consciousness-based decisions when you are polluting your body with all the fried food that you can find and eating on the run and not looking after your body, which is actually your temple, and allowing the digestive process to happen properly. I mean, you're not going to digest when you're running from the line all day. In other words, fight or flight, when you're in the sympathetic nervous system state all the time, adrenaline hitting, cortisol hitting on every single cell 24/7. We need it. We need to run from the line when we need to run from the line, but not all day. And then when you're doing that, the parasympathetic nervous system, the digestion, elimination, circulation, your centeredness, your connection to universe, very difficult, very hard to heal, very hard to live in a maximum space. When your nervous system is out, the hormones will be out, the breathing will be out, the blood sugar, the blood pressure, the weight, the ability of the cell to absorb oxygen and food and clean the waste. It's just going to be out of alignment. So we need to, I think, pull ourselves towards ourselves. And I don't care if I'm speaking for myself. That's great as well. And really be in that centered space. And I find that centeredness in nature. When I get outside into the garden, into the sunshine, bare feet on the earth, it's so easy to be centered because everything just works together like a jigsaw puzzle. The pieces just all falling together. And it's that whole circadian rhythm that we speak about all the time, the 24-hour period, and, when the body should be sleeping, and observing these laws of nature, because, as Da Vinci said, beauty and vitality are gifts from nature for those who abide by her rules. So what are we doing with the lights on after 10 o'clock when the serotonin, melatonin clockwork function of the body sets in, and we're not allowing that melatonin to be really released and secreted? And then people go and actually buy tablets to help them, but they don't actually understand that you just need to follow nature. So these are all the things that have really just dawned on me, which I wanted to share, and maybe also just remove the distraction, distortion, deception that's out there. And people who have courage of their convictions don't get knocked off sideways. All right. And as I said to you, often people are asking you your opinion, what you're doing. They're not really concerned about that. They're just waiting for you to ask them their opinion. It's quite easy. Ask them their opinion up front. And then they're happy because they've voiced what they've needed to voice. So for us, it's I think it's really, really a gift because we have this knowledge. We've all traveled this route a long way. I just want to get something up. We've all followed this path. We've honored each other. We've been part of I think quite a tight group. Sort of beginning April 2020 specifically, although my clients have been with me for a long time and friends and so on. And I believe, helped each other. We've worked through. We've tried to keep riding the crest of the wave, and there's no reason why any of that should dissipate or not be there. You know, we've had Errol come in with astrology. We've often had Dipti come in with all her beautiful, wise words as well. And you know, if we synthesize everything, it's really about it's about compassion. It's about gratitude. It's about love for all. And if we're going to fall into that trap about us and them, that's our choice. And it's a very third dimensional space. It's a very basic space. So what I'm really appealing to everyone is to work, you know, in a circle of compassion, because we're all here. And at the end of the day, we are more powerful than anything. We've got to know that, stand in our space, occupy it, be in that courageous space. We are more powerful. You know, I remember a long time ago, I asked a very esteemed Ayurvedic natural doctor, and I said, you know, doctor, you know, how come all these serious infections and parasites and this and that and chemicals are being thrown at us, at humanity? I mean, how come all of this is happening? And he just said, look, stand up in your power and say you are more powerful. And that's the end of it. The DNA kicks in, the cellular vibration kicks in, and that's how it is. Same as if there's a tsunami, you stand up and you say, I will survive this. I have the courage to survive this. So, you know, these are things that are just going to help us really get through. And I'm not saying we will go through dark and light periods. We absolutely are, but it's to be aware of it. And to take the gift there and then in the moment, if we can, and say, how can I transmute this? How can I transmute this into courage and love and compassion and truth and authenticity? And why is it happening? What's my message? What do I need to get so that I can move on? You know, because you got that choice in that split second. You know, is the cup half full or half empty? Are we sinking, or are we going to, you know, fill the cup with some more water, for example? And this is not new to civilizations either. You know, and we've all been in this together before. We've all survived, as I've said before. And so civilizations have to go through periods of turmoil, periods of breakdown and build up and breakdown and build up. And that's really how we strengthen ourselves, our DNA, our genetics, physical, neurological, emotional, and spiritual states. So we've got to almost constructively deconstruct, so that we can then reconstruct ourselves, if you understand. So that's exactly what's in the space right now. And, you know, there's blessings and gratitude for all sorts of things that are going to result out of all of this, if we could only just see over the hill. And that's what I'm really wanting us to really focus on now, is to say is to start creating your future reality. I've talked about this, especially in November last year, where I did a webinar every single day, basically, and they're all on the YouTube, so you can go and have a look at them. But all to awaken us to the abundance and the beauty, and to start getting us thinking into this new space, this new creation, where we are going, who's going to be with you, where are you going to be, how's it going to work? Create it, visualize it, dream it, be it, and then work towards it. Not going left or right, go for it, because as you do that, you know, you are then shifting potential energy, a potential idea, into kinetic energy, which is your manifestation into reality. We have to be responsible. I'm not talking about not being responsible. So what is responsible? You won't sleep with your front door open. You're going to close it. Same thing about health. Same thing about your future planning for yourself. We need to be responsible and plan it. Put the steps in place. You know, we always say there's the three kinds of people: those who wonder what's happening, those that watch what's happening, and those that make things happen. Which are you? And you have a choice. And there's no right or wrong in the matter. But collectively, we need to work together. The collective spin is the collective spin, quantum spin. And, it's as I said, it's about, looking at the bigger picture, seeing the warmer glow, seeing the dawn of the new golden age, as far as I'm concerned. And it's going to follow. It will follow, absolutely. But we don't want to get there and wonder how we got there or where we're going to be or how things are going to happen. We need to start planning all of it. This is more important than anything else that's going on at the moment. Way more important. Way, way, way more important. So these endless cycles of destruction and creation and destruction and creation. And that's how we learn and we get repatterned and reordered, and vibration gets higher and higher and higher, and we end up stronger than we've ever been. All right, so that resilience is very, very, very important moving forward. And I think never to lose sight of compassion, because that's the biggest space ever. That's the strength, if you like. That's the strength. And being able to be truthful to yourself, know yourself. We talked last night, know your limitations. Be humble enough to accept them. And be as authentic as you can. Forget about your story, the story that you've told everybody since you manufactured that story 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, whatever. Forget about it. It's old news. Forget about the negative emotions. Forget about who did what to you. Rather turn back and say, well, what have I gained from this? What's my gift? Oh my gosh, this wasn't just by coincidence. This needed to happen. And have I just in self-pity wallowed in the incident, or have I stood up and risen up and said, you know what? I got the message. I learned. I'm moving forward now. I can leave that. I can leave it alone. And suddenly there's a huge shift in vibration in your body. Every single cell shifts in front of you when you make that decision. And you leave it. The old patterns, the negativity, what's not serving you. And choose high vibration, choose energy, choose life force. And that's in your thoughts, what you eat, who you're with, everything on a day-to-day basis. But to do that, you need a rested nervous system. That's why sleeping is so important. That's why 10 until 2, especially at night, is critical for humans, for us. So that we can have a deep sleep, dream, and rest that nervous system and build our immunity. That's how we are wired. We are not wired to go to bed at 2 o'clock. I mean, occasionally when you're having fun or something, sure. But I'm talking on a regular basis. The more regular and the more rhythm we can get into. Look at nature. It's in a rhythm. There's seasons. There's day and night. There's rhythm. And that's what we need to get back into. Rudolf Steiner talks a lot about the rhythm. And be able to observe ourselves, to stand back and see ourselves over there and watch and evaluate and say, you know what, that part staying behind, this part is coming with me. I like this part. These are my gifts. This is my true self. I'm going to walk my true path from now on. Happy and courageous. If you're living in the negative space, you're not going to be able to be courageous, I'm afraid. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't go together, because there's doubt. And there's self-delusion and abandonment and rejection and betrayal. Learn to do it and then move on so that we can get onto higher levels. And, we also through lots of our training and everything, we've talked about, God consciousness. We've talked about our soul connection. We've talked about, and more recently, about the pineal gland and, the seat of consciousness, and talked a lot about detoxification and purification. And, you know me, we have to purify. You can throw as much good food at a body, but if that liver's not working, and the kidneys and all the detox organs, the skin, the lungs, the liver are not working properly, it's very difficult to purify. It's very difficult to have crystal clear thoughts. So really, it should be an aim of all of us to do that and grow your own food if necessary. Do whatever is necessary for you, non-judgmental. And it's also not about boasting or ego. You're doing it for you. for authentically you. Because you've always known you should have, and now finally you're listening to your gut feeling. And then you can be the best version of yourself. The best holistic version of yourself, with everything interrelated, integrated with this huge energy field around you, scalar wave energy field around you, and people will feel that energy, they get attracted to it. And as I also posted about the sort of misconception about survival of the fittest. And this really, I think, was brought to the fore quite distinctively for me with the quantum devices and the messages that we get through, and from the subconsciouses and so on about compassion, but also cooperation versus survival of the fittest, the survival of the most cooperative people, cooperation. Collective transformation, transform thyself and then work collectively towards transformation. So I think, the message I'm getting across to you is becoming more and more and more clear. And times like this, we need to pull together, and we see when there's the most stress in countries or communities or whatever, suddenly in a heartbeat, people stand together. We know it. We instinctively are going to stand together because of our entwinement, our particular entwinement. Very interesting to see the shifts that are going on. It's amazing, far more amazing and good topic of discussion than should you or shouldn't you, So cooperation, compassion, consideration, acceptance, non-judgmental awareness. These are words we speak about a lot, and for every action there's a reaction. It's the more you give, the more you get back. You don't have to consciously be aware of it, but those are the things that start happening. And regarding the food and life force, we're blessed. We have the knowledge. We know the higher vibrational foods, the algae, medicinal mushrooms, the bee pollens, the raw jellies, the organic sprouts, organically grown seed, nuts, and fruits. Those are going to put people onto a much higher vibrational level than any everyday food that we so busy stockpiling and consuming and stuff. We need to be growing those kind of foods. It's not about quantity, it's about the quality of the food. The life force, how tightly bound those electrons are around the proton and the neutron. The tighter they're bound, the higher the life force. So in other words, as you're consuming, you're getting more energy, as opposed to consuming food and reducing your energy because it's cooked and acidic and all those things. So we are really our own worst enemies. We make our bodies acidic. We bring on the depression. We bring on the rejection. We bring on the not loving ourselves. And I'll tell you that imperfect food brings on these emotions too. So hybridized, genetically modified foods will bring these negative emotions. And they clog the liver even more, and your life force goes down even more, and so very hard to think clearly and live productively. So again, we've got a choice. We've never had a choice like this before in terms of choice of food and availability. And it doesn't mean it's going to always be like that, but make your plan B. What's your plan B? That's really what I'm wanting to get us to think about, so that we can also move at any moment in time, depending on how we need to and where we need to be. So also what we consume affects how we think and what we do. And so, the more moral your thoughts, the more authentic and true your food, the more moral your thoughts and the more moral your deeds. The more you're able to be compassionate and loving, and the more gratitude you will have, the more patience you will have, and the more you will be able to aspire to those higher levels. And it's completely different to greed. Aspiring from contentedness space with gratitude is completely different to wanting, thinking you need, and wanting what someone else has. Greed is our biggest enemy. And the Pied Piper of Hamelin, that story, stuck in my mind since childhood. Those rats came to teach humanity. They came to teach people. They brought the bubonic plague or whatever. And Ormus gold was there. Ormus gold treated the people with bubonic plague. It's written in the Book of Kings or something. I posted it a long time ago. So we have the tools. We have the nourishment. We've got Ormus gold. We've got microbiome reset, live probiotics. Honestly to goodness, the farmers make it. There's nothing magic in it. It's made. It's a homemade thing on the farms. Yes, I get a certificate of analysis with all the guaranteeing 80 to 120 live strands. Yes, we do that. And it's grown in sterile conditions and all perfect and how it should be. But it's natural. Ormus is natural. It occurs in spring water. It occurs in the tree sap. Rising and enabling the sap from the roots to rise up to the highest leaf at the top. That's Ormus. Enabling spring water to come up from the bottom of the ground, rise up to the top of the hill and flow out. That's Ormus. DMSO, it is made naturally from the algae in their respiration process, and it travels up to the clouds and comes down in the form of precipitation, naturally occurring MSM. DMSO is basically from the sap from the trees, from the paper mills, when the trees are brought in and there's still sap in them. That sap makes the DMSO. It is then crystallized into MSM. DMSO is Ormus. It's tree sap. It's the most fundamentally amazing, fantastic liquid on the planet. Along, obviously, with the Ormus and the microbiome, we reset those all liquids. The other liquid is our cell vitality OxyMinerals. Oxygen scavenger to pull the electron envelope of every single free radical, regardless of what it is. So long as it's not natural tissue, it leaves the natural tissue alone. We have it. We have all of this at our disposal. We are able to remove serious toxins, I'm not mentioning any words, out of the body. We've done it already. We have quantum devices that can also electromagnetically detox and purify the body and remove these toxins. You've also got to want to get purified and want to get ahead and want to plan your future and want to create where you're going. So that's the willpower. And if you're too stressed, you've got no dopamine, and dopamine is your will to do things. You'll probably also have low progesterone or testosterone. And that's your feeling of masculinity or your feeling of femininity. You don't have that. You don't have a will to do things. Because that cortisol just eats it up, eats the thyroid, dopamine, and the progesterone. All those hormones. So be kind to yourself. Get off that horse. Get off that treadmill. Get off whatever it might be. We have to give up something because we can't carry on like that. We can't carry on. In order to be fed properly and get universal energy, we need to be conscious of it, bring it in, and work with it. It's very hard to really obtain maximum health and maximum capacity and abilities when you haven't given up certain things. And a very interesting thing also along the lines is, who are you serving and what are you serving? Are you serving your job? Are you serving your own company that you formed? Are you serving another person? Or are you actually serving yourself and your own purpose? And I want you to go and think about this. Because I know many people who come in here, age 50, 60, and so on, and all they've done is serve their company their whole life. They never for one moment sat back and served themselves or their family. That is something to think about. And wondering why the body's aching and paining and crystallized and sore. and not functioning properly. Your soul is trying to tell you on a physical level, shift, change. You're in the wrong job, for example. You're in the wrong space. So we have to really, really, really listen to our bodies. Women come in, men come in. They've served their partner their whole life, served another person their whole life. What about them? And you can't serve properly if you haven't served yourself. So you need to meet all your requirements before you can actually give. Be compassionate, be considerate, and, collectively transform and so on. So these are very important, very, very important things, right now that are, I just think, in such a fantastic way appearing, as if we always knew them, but we didn't. But it seems like we always did, because we're in the now. So in the now, we did always know them. And, this is where we can really get to a point where we've achieving freedom, degrees and levels of freedom. When you can let go of that ego. Serve the ego. Some people serve the ego and their story their whole entire life. And they wear a groove, in a mental groove in their brain. That's all it does, day in and day out. They live and believe and speak about their story. That's boxed in. That is not freedom. That is not joy. That is not happiness. So to be contented, we need to have a look at our wheel, really, and relationships and environment and academic stimulation and nutrition and your spiritual side and your purpose, and how are all of these interrelated and integrated, and where might be the limitations, and then work on those so that you can then collectively move up to the joy, the happiness, the transformation, spiritual alignment, and purity, where we can think clearly and live productively. This is the most important thing. And other nutrients that we have to enable us to do this. We've mentioned the Ormus gold. We've mentioned the microbiome reset. We've mentioned the cell vitality OxyMinerals. We've got flaxseed oil. It's abundant. You can get it all perfectly in an amber bottle and all the rest of it cold pressed. That oil, it's golden. It's golden in color for a reason. It's got the highest life force of all the oils. And it's critical for cell membrane potential, to allow the oxygen and the food to flow in, to make energy, to bind with the electrons, to make energy for us in the mitochondria and for perfect cell division, to let the waste come out. Also the omegas for the brain, also to line the lungs, the gut, and the reproductive organs. We have to have oil, otherwise the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz, and we've drained and we don't have that life force, and we're either too thin or too large, or however it might be, And, on top of it, we've got natural products that will help us reset the human genome and take it to the next level. We've got products like medicinal mushrooms, which come from other galaxies. The spores come down, they settle amongst the trees, they start degrading, breaking down the trees, living on the old bark and so on, with their mycelia deep in the root structures, all communicating underground, like a communication that we've never known before. And they release their spores, and the spores go up again. And those fruiting bodies are what we consume. The intelligence is phenomenal. It's beyond any medical drug formulation, nano-coated, I don't care what, that's available. In the true God form, in the quantum form, the way it was meant to be, nature made. Similarly with things like blue-green algae, Chlorella spirulina. Intelligence beyond what we know about. It's right here on the planet. The pollens, the royal jellies, propolises and so on. Highly, highly, highly wide, highly intelligent foods. Sprouts included, nuts, seeds, fruits. So, they're there. Avail yourself to them. You need to walk in a forest, you'll find the mushrooms. They're there. And, that's how I've really designed my life, to just take advantage of the gifts that are right here in front of us, and not to be bothered with the who did it, who didn't do it, well, who's doing what, who, whatever. And this type versus that type, and this one's got that in it, and that's. Some people have done these most amazing studies of, oh my gosh, it's entrapment, total entrapment, downward spiraling, staying here in this little low vibrational spin, when you could just be spiraling out into this infinite universe, the morphogenic field from where we come, where all the information is, and the vastness of everything we want. Doesn't matter. The other stuff doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. It's, most of this, it's, it was written in the stars in any event. And it is still written in the stars. So, the stars and the planets have always played a very huge role in our alignment. The pyramids are aligned with the stars, and, geometry is in alignment, and our bodies in alignment, we should be in an alignment. And so that kind of perfection and order, it's there in nature. We don't have to worry about it. We're the imperfect part. But if we surrender, then we see the perfection. We see the geometrical fields and the interrelation and integration. So I suppose, the crystallization out of all of this is courage. That is opposite fear. So catch yourself. Am I in fear, or am I actually in courage? Am I walking my path? Am I doing what I need to do? And I think all the great wise sages have shared this kind of truth with us. Our greatest fear is our maximum potential. So let's get over that. These are words, but let's now start, in a manifestation space. We're born with everything we need. So I wanted to share that with you and relax a lot of people. Get the breathing right. Breathe right down into the bottom of the lungs. Huge deep breath in, and long, long, long breaths out. And as you do that, as you breathe in, there's a golden mean spiral down your spine. And as you breathe out, there's a golden mean spiral up your spine. Resetting your torsion field, your scalar wave. Right. So what is the scalar wave for those of you who've joined us? If I'm sitting here and I've got the apple core, there's an apple around me, the core is my body. There's a golden mean spiral coming down and out, and another one coming up and out. And that is the scalar wave when we talk about a scalar wave. So when you breathe, you're resetting that, and you also detoxifying the body. Oxygen is detoxifying the body. Get that right. It's the beginning of everything. Just get it right. If you have to set your phone every hour to have a glass of water, to do your breathing, to get on the ground, to rest your eyes from the LED light, do that. And write it out in your diary and set it. Plan your year, plan your rest times and your time off and all the rest. And if you're doing something that's making you tired and making you feel negative and not bringing joy, it just can't be the right space. And we catch ourselves. And I know what makes me happy, and I know what I do, the things that I do that make me happy. And I know the things that, also aggravate. And it's mainly because, I think we've all come here with gifts and things to do. So then you can get also people to help you do those things and cooperate, and so that everybody's coming in with their special gift. And I think that's what also Dipti was posting about on the weekend. If you come in and you give your special gift, your level of satisfaction is so much higher. So we need to identify that true gift of ours and give it out. I'm just reading all the thingies. Thank you. I'm honored to have you here today and to, share something that's bubbling. All right, and let's concern ourselves what we need to concern ourselves with the present, but where we're going. Let's go and create that golden future for ourselves. And yours is different to mine, and that's okay too. Maybe it's the same. Maybe we meet in the same place. Let's just imagine this new space where whatever we've created with nature and all of us and the abundance we want and pure water and pure air and birds and just the new space where we're not hooked into 9-to-5 jobs and someone did this and someone did that. We're not even conscious of that. We're not even thinking of that. We're just creating and creating and creating. I think we were born to create and sharing and connecting, intergalactically, if you like, in just this vast, infinite space. I think that to me is the most awesome thing. That's what drives me. And assisting people raise their consciousness, which raises my consciousness. So with that, just have a golden rest of the day, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thanks to you all.